The first thing they told me was simple. Do not speak unless spoken to. The second thing was worse. Do not say your full name. I stood in the docking chamber of the Celestial Accord, surrounded by diplomats from a dozen alien civilizations, each more powerful, more ancient, and more terrifying than humanity could ever hope to be. Or so they believed. I adjusted the collar of my formal uniform, trying not to look like what I was, a soldier pretending to be a diplomat. Across the chamber, a towering insectoid clicked its mandibles in irritation. Nearby, a translucent being pulsed softly, its body shifting colors with each emotion. Even the air smelled different, sharp, metallic like ozone and something older. Humanity had only been part of the Galactic Assembly for 3 years. 3 years of being underestimated. 3 years of being tolerated. And now, 3 years later, I had been chosen to represent Earth at the highest gathering in known space. Not because I was the best diplomat, but because I was the only one who survived what came before. Remember, Ambassador Klein whispered beside me, his voice tight. You are here to observe, not provoke, not impress. I gave a small nod. Understood. But inside, I already knew. This was going to go wrong. The assembly hall was enormous. It wasn't built for humans. It was built for beings that spanned meters, for creatures that floated, slithered, or existed partially outside of visible space. Platforms rose in concentric circles, each tailored to a species' needs. And at the center, elevated above them all, was the throne of the Queen. Every species in the galaxy recognized her authority, not because she ruled them directly, but because she could. They called her the Unbroken Sovereign, the one who had ended 3 galactic wars before humanity had even discovered electricity. No one spoke her true species name. They just called her the Queen. I felt my pulse quicken as we took our assigned position near the outer ring. Humans were still considered junior participants. Close enough to be seen, far enough to be ignored. A deep, resonant tone filled the hall. The assembly was beginning. One by one, representatives spoke. Trade disputes, territorial negotiations, resource allocations. The usual politics of a galaxy too large to truly govern. I tried to focus, tried to look like I belonged, but something felt off. It started as a whisper in the back of my mind, a pressure, faint, familiar, like a distant echo I couldn't quite place. I clenched my jaw. Not now. Not here. It happened during the 4th session. A species known as the Thren Collective was presenting a grievance. Their voice was layered, hundreds speaking as one. We protest the expansion of human colonies into the Persis Fringe. Their presence destabilizes local equilibrium. I felt Ambassador Klein stiffen beside me. This was not on the agenda, he muttered. The collective continued. Humans are unpredictable, violent, resistant to neural pacification protocols. They are. Enough. The word cut through the chamber like a blade. Silence fell instantly. Every head turned toward the throne. The Queen had spoken. I had never seen her before. No human had. And yet, the moment I looked at her, something inside me reacted. She was tall, elegant, draped in a living mantle of shifting light. Her form was almost humanoid, but not quite. Too perfect, too precise. Her eyes found me. Not my ambassador, not the collective. Me. And suddenly, the pressure in my mind surged. Memories flickered. Not mine. Not entirely. Stars burning. Worlds collapsing. A voice calling across time. I staggered slightly. What the hell? I whispered. The Queen rose. The entire assembly gasped. She didn't just stand.
She stood for me.
State your designation, she said. Her voice wasn't loud.
But it didn't need to be.
It existed everywhere at once. Inside my head, in the air, in the bones of the station itself. Ambassador Klein stepped forward quickly. Your Majesty, this is a misunderstanding. This is merely a junior human representative. I did not ask you. The ambassador froze. Every instinct screamed at me to stay silent, to follow orders, to not draw attention. But her eyes were still on me, waiting, expecting, like she already knew the answer. Lieutenant Armin Hale, I said carefully. A pause. The pressure intensified. No, she said softly. That is not your name. The chamber shifted. Aliens leaned forward. Sensors activated. Weapons quietly primed. And somewhere deep inside me, something broke loose. Images flooded my mind. A battlefield that wasn't Earth. A war older than humanity. A name whispered by dying stars. I felt my breath catch. And before I could stop myself, I am. The word burned on my tongue. Ancient. Impossible. But real. Aren Vallis. The moment I said it, the universe seemed to pause. The Queen inhaled sharply. And then, she stepped down from her throne. Panic erupted across the assembly. This is a breach of protocol. Security. Contain the human. Unknown psionic signature detected. But the Queen ignored them all. She descended slowly, gracefully, until she stood just meters away from me. Up close, she was even more overwhelming. Not just powerful. Familiar. Terrifyingly familiar. You remember, she said. Not a question. A statement. I don't know what I remember. I admitted, my voice shaking. Ambassador Klein grabbed my arm. Stop talking, he hissed. You're going to start a war. Too late for that. The Queen raised a hand. The entire chamber fell silent again. Then she did something no one expected. She bowed her head. To think, she murmured. After all this time, gasps rippled through the assembly. The Queen, the unbroken sovereign, was bowing. To a human.
To me.
Who are you? I asked, barely able to process what was happening. Her eyes softened. For them, she said, gesturing to the assembly, I am their ruler. Then she stepped closer. For you, her voice dropped. I was your second. The words hit me like a shockwave. Second? To me? That's impossible, I said. I'm human. I was born on Earth. I've never. You were reborn, she said gently. The chamber stirred again. Reborn. The word echoed in my mind, unlocking something deeper. Fragments aligned. A ship unlike any human design. A war against something vast and unknowable. A final stand. A sacrifice. You died, she continued. You ended the war by ending yourself. I felt my knees weaken. And now, she said, you have returned. The Thren collective reacted first. This is deception, they hissed. A manipulation. Humans are incapable of silence. The Queen didn't raise her voice, but the collective fell quiet instantly. She turned back to me. The galaxy remembers what you were, she said. They fear what you could be again. I swallowed hard. And what was I? Her answer was simple. You were the one thing the void feared. The chamber erupted. Delegates shouted. Systems flared. Weapons charged. Because if what she said was true, then humanity wasn't just a new species. We were a resurrection. And I was the proof. This cannot be allowed, one of the elder species declared. If he is what she claims, he must be contained. Or destroyed, another added. Ambassador Klein stepped in front of me. You will not touch him, he said, his voice trembling but firm. I looked at him, surprised. You just told me not to speak, I said. He gave a tight smile.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't expect you to be a galactic legend. The Queen raised her hand again. No one will harm him. And if we refuse, a warlord species challenged. The temperature in the room dropped. Not physically, existentially. Then you will learn, she said quietly, why I once followed him. Silence. Absolute silence. Because whatever I had been, even the Queen feared it. I looked at my hands. They were still human, still mine. But beneath the surface, something ancient stirred. I don't want this, I said. The Queen studied me. You didn't want it the first time either. That didn't stop you from making me your weapon. Her expression changed. A flicker of something like regret. You were never a weapon, she said. You were a choice. The assembly waited. The galaxy held its breath. And I realized something. They weren't afraid of what I had been. They were afraid of what I would choose to be now. I took a step forward. Not as Aaron Vallis. Not as some ancient warlord. But as a human. Listen to me, I said. My voice carried. Not with power, but with certainty. I don't remember everything. Maybe I never will. I looked around the chamber. At all of you. You see a threat. A weapon. A ghost from your past. I shook my head. I'm none of those things. I paused. Not anymore. The tension shifted. Just slightly. Enough. I am human, I continued. And humans, we don't run from our past. I glanced at the Queen. We learn from it. She held my gaze. And what have you learned? She asked. I took a breath. That power doesn't make you right. That fear doesn't justify control. And that if I was once the thing you all feared, I let the words settle. Then maybe this time, I can be something better. Silence. Long, heavy. Then the Queen straightened. And for the second time that day, she stood in full authority. Hear this, she declared, her voice echoing across the chamber. The one known as Aaron Vallis has returned. A ripple of fear moved through the assembly. But she raised her hand. And he has chosen peace.
The ripple changed.
Confusion. Relief. Disbelief. And so, she continued, I declare his arrival not as a harbinger of war. She looked directly at me. But as a guardian of what comes next. No one spoke. No one dared. Because in that moment, the narrative of the galaxy changed. Not because of power, but because of choice. Later, as the assembly dispersed, Ambassador Klein exhaled deeply. Well, he said, that could have gone worse. I laughed weakly. Yeah, I guess it could have. The Queen approached us once more. This time, without ceremony, without fear. What will you do now? She asked. I thought about it. About Earth. About humanity. About the legacy I didn't ask for. I'll figure it out, I said. Like we always do. She smiled. A small, genuine thing. Then perhaps, she said, there is hope for this galaxy yet. As I walked back toward the human vessel, I felt it again. That presence. That memory. But this time, it didn't overwhelm me. It waited. Patient. Because whatever I had been, whatever I might become, one thing was certain. The galaxy would never see humanity the same way again.